So remember I made this video where I had this user on Twitter constantly trying to denigrate me and call me names, and then after having to go through an AI learning module, Grok, to verify their claims, ended up being that they have no way to verify the things they say nor substantiate their claims. One of their arguments is that they need no proof to actually verify the things that they're saying. I'm not kidding you, man. A lot of these people are very interesting in the way that they actually see the world. Can you imagine somebody saying something and then coming around when you ask them to prove it, they tell you that they need no proof to prove the thing that they've said? This is people walking around with some kind of a God complex. And I think that when you actually go ahead and drag it down to earth to remind them that they're human beings just like us, it kind of offends them. I bring this up not to show you any conversation between this person. This person is pretty much not going to learn seriousness, but to point out that a lot of people have been very comfortable making claims without any proof to back them up. They've just said things and no one has really checked them. Has this been the culture in the gaming discourse? Perhaps. And I think now that a lot of people are backing away from such, it's starting to make a whole lot of sense, as these folk who were once constantly saying this have now become somewhat quiet as time has gone on. Now, this is a good thing. It's good that when we actually maintain this layer of silence, when nothing can be said and backed up, rather everyone shut up rather than people lie, we're able to quickly now hear what the reality is. I was watching a video that one of our audience members went ahead and recommended to me, and I thought it was the most interesting thing, because the YouTuber making that video started with a lot of claims, and as I started to go through the video, I wondered to myself, what has been the culture of the discourse in these last few years and months? Have we been in a position where opinion pieces have been accepted and adopted as the truth or the reality, or is there something else that we're missing? And I think what happened was, within the console bubble, a lot of people were just flailing and spitting nonsense and thinking that just because they said it, it's true. And that's the problem I think that we're facing. Can you imagine right now, any of you under the sound of my voice listening to this video, if I were to tell you that right now I have made arrangements for you to put your hand in your breast pocket and pull out a check from me for $1 million. Now, you'd do it and you'll be like, VG, you're crazy. Number one, you don't even know who I am personally. How would you even have done that? Number two, you don't even have $1 million for one person. How are you going to furnish everyone listening to this video with $1 million? There'd have to be proof for me to make a claim like that. Me just saying it and wishing or trying to manifest it into existence is not the way the world works. You're a human being like every single one of us. So when people were talking about the data surrounding Xbox and talking about how, as a platform, they weren't in a position to continue in the gaming business, they were in a bubble saying things that did not consider the outside pieces of this whole conversation. Had they paid attention and made note of what Xbox was doing in the background, I think they would have been a lot less hubristic. I just made up a word. The chip on their shoulders would have probably been, filed down significantly, because a lot of them were run ragged by a lot of the things that have happened in 2025. You can see them actually, in a sense, dancing in circles, because now there really is nowhere else to go other than having to face the truth. Now, some of them haven't faced the truth. They're still in their little bubbles, with a few others that are still holding on. Some others are just bitter. They're burned. They constantly keep tagging me in their comments on social media. And I'm like, dude, what do I have to do with the fact that PlayStation likes money? I told you they liked money. In fact, the reason they acted like they could stay exclusive was because y'all gave them a lot of money. But the moment when inflation started to hit and their competitors started to gain ground, they've looked and said, man, we got to stay ahead while we stay ahead. And so now they want to get ahead and they want to stay ahead. And what are they going to do? They're going to do exactly what Xbox did. In fact, they've already been doing it. They put their games on PC. Oh, they don't launch them day and date. Really? We're going to do that? Okay. They launch some day and date. Oh, but it's live service, but they launch non-live service day and date. Oh, but it's Lego. We don't care. Oh, but it's dividend. We don't care. Oh, it's MLB that published it. We don't care. Oh, it's Kojima's game. We don't care. Oh, it's PlayStation's game. Helldivers 2 is only a live service game. At the end of the day, we don't care. What we are looking at is that the hubris that has guided the gaming conversation all of these years. Right now, I am happy that humble pie has actually come out of the oven and has been served across the board. So making claims that you can't back up and, seeing a lot of folk coming into the space and trying to talk about these things, is something that we have to be careful about. Even I myself, I tell you guys all the time, if I make a claim and I don't have any, evidence to that claim, by all means, call me out to make sure that I don't go out there and make a fool of myself, because I'm counting on you guys. I really am. And I think that way the community of gamers can pull evidence, can pull data to refute, or at least evidence and data to go ahead and ensure that I'm not making silly notions or making a fool out of myself. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly where the gaming discussion and conversation needs to be on. Why? Because none of us are experts in this whole thing. Simple. The experts, they actually operate their business under a shroud of secrecy. And it's this shroud of secrecy that only keeps us on the outsides anyways, as speculators. We're just speculating. We're trying to figure out what they're doing. We're trying to figure out where they're going. We're trying to figure out where their business is morphing to or changing or evolving towards. And so we're all observers out here taking note of what's going on. However, you can see trends as you're observing. You can see things happening. If you see somebody swerving on the road, you know that there is a pattern of that person probably going to hit another vehicle or some other object that is either on the road or off the side of the road, or they fall into a ditch. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see a trend. If you see somebody driving straight down the road, there's a likelihood that they're going to continue driving straight down the road unless some freak accident or incident occurs. That's just what trends can be like. And so in looking at the video game industry and looking at the trends and observing and ensuring that we are true to ourselves rather than engage in fanboyism, we're able to pretty much go ahead and distill exactly what's going on. You see, one of the craziest things is, as this notion of people making claims and not backing it up has now been unveiled and people are getting exposed, some people have now backed down quickly in order to save face, but there are some who have not yet done so. And what's happening is, the more and the longer they continue to engage in these lies, the more and more they start to sound more outlandish every given day. They'll make some of the craziest claims because they keep going and digging into a hole where they can't back them up. They'll say things about the gaming industry that make no sense. Sometimes they'll even contradict themselves for the convenience of wanting to be right in the moment. And so more and more, it seems like the entire thing continues to get loony as they can't keep up with everything that they're pretty much putting out there. But eventually, the psychosis is going to break. It's going to fall apart. There's no way the facade can continue to go unless, of course, we have met a different kind of, entity that can never operate on even acknowledging what reality is. But I don't think that's, possible. We as a collective, in terms of the human, society, we usually eventually strive for the truth. So the gaming community, which is made of humans, is not different. The truth of all these things usually come out eventually, and we get and gain more knowledge as time goes on. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hopefully we can talk in, pretty soon in another one. Peace out.